Hello, welcome, hello, and welcome to the live stream. I'm Dan, your friendly fishmonger at dansfish.com. Glad you could join us. Thanks for being here. And yeah, we're going to have a great time nerding out about fish tonight. So the first thing we're going to do is our weekly shipment report, which will consist of 2 weeks because I was out last week due to an illness. Sorry about that. That doesn't happen often, but I had a uncontrollable cough, and I didn't figure an hour and a half of basically watching me cough randomly in these long episodes would be that entertaining for folks. So decided to not go last week. So I've got a shipment report for 2 weeks for you, and we have a giveaway, some amazing cichlids that are pretty uncommon but pretty cool. I'll tell you about those, and then update you about the build of the new fish store, and then we will Chaos Aquatics and Exotics. I came for the coughing, and then we'll get to your questions and comments. So that's the docket for the night. I apologize. I have a cough drop in my mouth. It's just to prevent the endless hacking. So hopefully it's not too annoying. It's these guys. Seems to be one that works pretty good. And is long lasting, so hopefully that'll get us through. Feeling a lot better, a lot less coughing, but still, like, just randomly it'll happen. And I feel fine in every other way. It's just like I've got a little feather back there tickling my throat, and I get this from time to time. I've had it before, usually with seasonal changes like we're going through right now. So just part of being me, I guess. Anyway, with that, let's get to the shipment report. So since last we met, it's been 2 weeks, and things have gone pretty well. We've lost 2 fish, if I'm remembering correctly. I think I am. One was a Melanitania calidiri, arrived with a bunch of rainbows, and just for some reason, one of the calidiri had arrived alive, but did that thing where it mysteriously didn't do well and died within a couple days. So that was one. The other was one we sent out Monday that arrived yesterday. It was one of a good-sized group of rainbows. What was it? It was Melanitania rubrovittata. So the red laser wapoga, or wapoga red laser rainbow that arrived, and it arrived in rough shape. It was laying on its side and not doing well, and died shortly after. I believe I got this tickling in the back of my brain that I'm missing one, but since it's been 2 weeks, I might be missing one. Oh no, here's what I'm missing. It wasn't a death. The other issue we've had is we've sent out a couple hundred Melanitania calitawa, so a lot of them. There's been 2 that had issues. And what they are is, one of the first batch we sent, the tail was damaged, and then we got a note yesterday that one of the ones we sent Monday, the tail was damaged. We work really hard not to send any fish with damaged fins. We check them all multiple times. But I think a couple things can happen. One is they're small and colorless, and so the tail is hard to see. It's a colorless tail. So you take a look and it's not obvious always that something's wrong. So sometimes maybe something skips by us, but I think more probably we pull the fish, we check them, they look good, and then I think maybe when we do their water change, sometimes they thrash in the net, and sometimes my big King Kong sausage fingers, I'm really careful, but it's like King Kong handling a mouse, right? And sometimes I think I might, one in every few thousand fish, inadvertently damage a fin while I'm doing the water change and netting them and all that. So we try really hard not to, but I'm sure occasionally that happens, and I suspect that might be what happened to the 2 calitawa, although I can't know for sure. But the good news is we have a report from the first one that they got a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that the tail's growing back already and it seems to be doing fine. And the other one we're keeping an eye on, and I'm sure it'll grow back fine. Usually it does. So that's the issues. 2 that arrived alive but then passed away shortly after, and 2 that had not horribly damaged tails, but some damage to the tail fin that grew back and is, I think, growing back. One, we have a mystery. I sent out 2 Betta Pugnacs, 2 weeks ago, I think. Maybe more, actually. A little while ago. And one of them is doing great, and the other one is not eating. And we were racking our brains trying to figure out what it could be, because they were doing fine here. And the owner emailed me today and was like, I have an idea. It appears that maybe what it is I thought I sent 2 females. But maybe one's male and is holding eggs. So it looks like it might have its buccal cavity distended. So in which case, yeah, perfectly reasonable explanation of what's going on, that maybe there's a male holding eggs. Or I don't know if 2 female bettas, because they sure look like females to me, I don't know if 2 female Betta Pugnacs would ever breed and one would hold. I suppose that might be a possibility. I've never experienced that, but maybe that's happening. Don't know for sure. But that's all the things. Apart from that, everything else, as far as I know, has gone really well. It was rough last week, though. We shipped Monday and everything went fine. We bagged all the fish Tuesday to ship Wednesday, and then there was that big ice storm, but we didn't know for sure what it would be yet. Tuesday night, it was like, oh, this might be a real thing. And Wednesday morning when we checked, we were like, my friends in Chicago were already getting hammered. And so we decided not to ship Wednesday. So we had to postpone all those orders, contact all our customers, return all the fish to the tanks. And this week we've been playing catch up because we had to reship all those fish. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks. It's funny, you know, in hindsight, it's like, why'd you even bag the fish in the first place? That was a bad storm. But, I'm going to turn down my mic. It seems like I'm a little hot. Hopefully I'm not hurting anyone's ears. And again, for those just joining, I've got a cough drop in my mouth. I'm sorry if that's gross, or I make slurpy sounds, or like click it against my teeth or something. I'll try to remember not to. But I'm what you call hardly housebroken. So anyway, the issue I run into with weather is we always check the weather on every shipment. And there's lots of times when there's these severe weather warnings, and the weather people, meteorologists, I suppose, that report the weather, are saying this could be horrible and that could be horrible and all that. I think that what happens is, and then usually it's not. I think that the weather reporters and the folks that deal in weather news have like a vested interest in making it as dramatic as possible, right? Because then we'll go watch and tune in. And so it's hard for me to tell what's hyperbole with the weather reports and what's like, oh, this one is one we really need to watch out for. Because they're all horrible, right? They're all going to be this big thing as far as they're reported, and most of them never are. But I'm glad we did not ship last Wednesday, because it looks like it was the real deal. It was a big problem. Ice storms where the UPS hub is, lots of snow, things shut down. In fact, Monday they were still recovering this week a little bit. We did send shipments out. We sent everything out that was going west. Anything going east of the Rockies, we did not ship. Everything going west, we did ship. And I thought that would be okay, but I learned something. We had several delays. Oh, that's the other thing. I did have another box of fish that did not do well. I'll tell you, it was delayed. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So I thought everything going west of the Rockies would be fine because the storm was on the other side, right? But even though there wasn't a big storm there, still somehow all the finagling they had to do on the eastern side of the Rockies, canceled flights and all that, still slowed shipping way down for everything that was going to California and Oregon and Washington and west of the Rockies, right? So I think the lesson there is, if there's a real bad storm in one location, one area, maybe don't ship at all, even though it's like California was fine. Just because it seems to have ramifications through the whole, somehow a big shutdown in the Ohio Valley will affect boxes going to California, even though those boxes go from Billings directly to California. And so we did have 2 that were delayed in a long time. One shipped Wednesday, and didn't arrive till Monday of this week. So they were delayed quite a bit. One box arrived fine despite the delay. I was going to California, so it was warmer. One got delayed for a while in Billings, and it was super cold. Those did not make it. So there was an order of Moanatania picta that did not make it. That's the other one that was tickling the back of my brain that I forgot earlier. So, but note to self, if there's a big storm in the east, don't ship west. If there's a big storm out west, maybe don't ship east. So I'm saying this so that hopefully if you ever order and you get a message from us saying and this only happens once or twice a year, by the way, this isn't all the time, but if we say, hey, there's a bad storm in this part of the nation, so we can't ship, you'll be like, but I'm not over there, right? I'm in Florida, this storm's in Oregon, or I don't know what it would be, but it just seems to have ramifications through the entire system when that happens. So I just want to bring that up so you understand why, if we tell you we can't ship because of weather, and your weather's great, that's why. Somewhere it's really bad, and that's going to affect all the shipments for some reason. Just seems like that's how the system works, or doesn't work. Okay, I think that I've talked about that enough. Now, even though I had to do those report on that, the thing that I want to make sure everyone knows is there were tons of fish that were sent out the last few days. It was all 4 of us working full bore to get them all done the last few weeks. And so it's horrible when any fish has a problem, but when you look at the numbers, we're still doing really well. We're just shipping out so many more fish now as we grow that the reports are going to get longer. In fact, it might get to the point where instead of mentioning the individual fish that don't do well, I just report on percentage. Here's our rate, here's where we're at, because I know if we start shipping enough fish, even if a tiny percentage have an issue, it could get very doom and gloomy. So I think we can skew the perspective as every week when we get on and give you the honest, transparent truth about how shipping went, we only talk about the problems. And so it can make it, I think it can skew the perception that, there's all these problems. There's not. There's very, very few, less than 1%. It's a very small percentage overall. So we just make sure we talk about them because we made that commitment and we're going to keep doing it. Anyway, that's the shipment report. Not perfect, but for having massive ice storms and massive problems and stuff, and for the number of fish we shipped, it's still within. When you look at statistics, I don't want to say it's fine. It's never fine when fish, don't do well. But when you look at it statistically, it's still what we would expect, more or less. I missed a super chat from Alexander Engelhart. Hey, Alexander, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Dan's anti-ASMR stream. Thank you, Alexander. Appreciate it very, very much. And hopefully I don't cough on you while I'm doing this. All right, let's get to the giveaway. We've got a pretty cool fish to give away. This is a cichlid that is pretty uncommon, and I don't even know how to say the species name, so I'm going to show it to you. It's Guianacara, or these come from French Guiana and Suriname. In the species I have, I don't know for sure, it's kind of impossible to tell these apart, for me anyway, the different species. But I think it's this one that I don't want to try to pronounce. Orowefe? I'm going to go with that. Orowefe. They are kind of like the geophagus of that region of South America. So if you think of a geophagus, or perhaps a gymnogeophagus, I would say they're fairly similar to those, meaning that they are not super aggressive, which is nice. So the same temperament as a gymnogeophagus or a geophagus, which they're cichlids. You're still going to get some aggression sometimes, especially during spawning. But it's not that hyper-aggressive thing like your bumblebee cichlid from Lake Malawi, that will just take everything out for no reason. It's not that. So I would say temperament-wise, fairly good. This is one that you could keep in a community aquarium. They don't get too big The largest I've seen them in an aquarium is about 4 inches. I've seen reports of them getting up to 6 inches, but so I'd say 4 to 6 inches. Let's just put it there. So not a monster fish by any means. Like for a cichlid, pretty reasonably sized, and I kept them with lots of different community fish, and I have never had a problem yet. So I think they're going to be just fine. Now, the constant disclaimer is that any fish that can fit any other fish in its mouth will do so. So if you have tiny little fish and put these in there and they can slurp them down like spaghetti, that's going to happen even though they're peaceful, because that's just food. But so when I say peaceful, I don't mean they won't eat other fish if they're tiny and they have an opportunity like any other fish would. I'm just saying they aren't mean, aggressive sons of you-know-whats. So with that, we're going to give away 3 of these tonight, and if you would like to get a mild-mannered, unusual, doesn't get too big earth eater, then to enter, just type hashtag Cichlid in the chat. I tried to make it easy. Hashtag CICHLID in the chat. I thought of doing like Guianacara, and I was like, oh man, no, there'll be lots of errors. Like, no one can spell that. In the species name, I can't even say, much less spell. So, hashtag Cichlid if you'd like to win 3 of these. They're about 2 inches right now, give or take a bit. And just keep in mind, they're going to get 4 to 6 inches and need probably a 40 breeder if they pair off for a pair, or like a 55, something like that in time. Okay, I'm going to try to avoid cough drop number 2 until I really need to take it. So with that, the last thing I want to, well, no, I'm going to talk about the warehouse, but before I do that, I want to talk about something very briefly. I had a moderator reach out to me that there's a member of the fish famine need, color guppies. There's been some serious things going on in their life. And so I told Maria Z that she could go ahead and share the events and stuff that are going on to try to support color guppies, Vinay. I know Rico Stan's involved. I just saw that, Rico, and some other folks. So if you're interested in what's going on, oh man, I'm going to have to get another cough drop. I hate doing that because it's so much sugar. And like, by the end of the day, you've been sucking on cough drops all day. Your mouth is just, it's just gross. Coat your teeth, it's nasty. Anyway, Vinay at Color Guppies could use some help. And so some Fish Fam members are doing some things to help. So I just want to call your attention to it. And if you're interested, the mods will be listing information to that you can look at. I wish them and their loved ones and everything the best. It's a really difficult time right now. And we don't always talk about that stuff because in a community this big, there's always going to be people having difficult times, and it's like, how do you pick and choose and all that, right? So it gets a little dicey, so it makes it a little hard sometimes for me to know what to do. But when my moderators want something to happen and know the details more than I do, I have great moderators, so I trust them, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So Maria Z reached out and was like, this is going on, so I trust Maria with everything, and was like, yes, go ahead. So it's Maria's credit that this is happening. Thanks for Maria for bringing this to my attention. I've been pretty preoccupied building the warehouse and everything going on, so I'm kind of out of touch, but Maria and some of the other mods know quite a bit about it, and it seems like a real thing, so that's why it's happening, because they're aware of it. So anyway, let's move on from that. I'd like to talk about the warehouse. It's coming along great. We've been focusing on the water and air supply lately. So we've hung all the water valves and the air valves, and now we're completing the loop. So you want your water and your air to be on a loop, so it's all connected, so you don't get big pressure differentials. If you just put your water in a pipe and send it down a long pipe, the pressure at the end of that pipe will be very different than the pressure up close to the source, the water source entering the pipe, right? So if you put it on a loop, though, it kind of equalizes the pressure. So that's what we've been working on, building that. We installed a lot of the light hangers today, the little pieces of hardware that the lights sit on. So we're getting the light hardware attached to the tanks. Not the lights themselves yet, but just the light hardware. And that's going to be the focus for the next few days. We'll be finishing the water supply loop, finishing the air supply loop, and getting the light hardware finalized. And when you have this many to do, like, oh, the other thing we're working on is cutting like air line and water line to size, so we can go from the valve down to the tank itself, right? And it's amazing, like, usually you need some airline, you go cut it, you put it on your pump, you put it in your tank, you're done, right? When you have this many tanks, man, everything you have to do just takes a long time, even small tasks, because multiply that by hundreds and hundreds of tanks, and suddenly it's an hour chore, right? It takes an hour just to cut the lines. So, but we're working through it. We've made good progress, and it really is coming along, and I can't know for sure, but I'm still shooting for March 1st for having everything set up and all the tanks in, and ready to turn on the system and get it going. That's my goal. Can't promise it, but that's what we're shooting for. So once the air valves in that loop and water valves in that loop is all finished and the lighting hardware is all put on, the next big step is the drains. So we'll be installing we have floor drain pipes basically sticking up out of the concrete. We'll put our big T on there and put our pipes across on the racks so that we can drain the tanks into those pipes. And once that's done, then we can bring the tanks down, paint them, drill them, and get them in position. So I really think we can do that. My goal is to have the tanks, be ready to bring the tanks down the week of the 21st. Hopefully we can do that like the 21st. And if we can start painting and drilling, we'll be done that. I envision that being a 3-day project. A day to bring them all down and get them set up, a day to paint, maybe a 4-day, a day to drill, and then a day to get them all set. Yeah, it's going to be a 4-day project, I think. So if we can coordinate with it's a trucking company that's moving the tanks from our warehouse to our new store. If they can get that done by the 21st or so, then I think we're on track. I think we could really do it. So anyway, that's the update on the warehouse. That's what's going on my neck of the woods. Let's find out what's going on with you guys. First, I want to thank my moderators, though. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate you guys being here. I think my moderators are amazing. Not only do they volunteer on my channel, but several of them do things across lots of other channels and often do things behind the scenes that people are not aware of to help members of the Fish Fam. Or the best way I could describe it is there's like certain members of the Fish Fam that do things that are the glue that kind of hold this whole thing together. And some of my mods are definitely in that category. So I think they're awesome, not just for what they do here, but do for the Fish Fam in general. So thank you. And with that, let's get to your questions and comments. Let's see here. We've got one here that I missed from Pepplin Creek Aquatics. Thank you, Dan. We love color guppies. Hearts to Vinay. Yes, and people are stepping up, and I think they'll get some help. So, yeah, happy to just announce it. I'm not doing that much. It's Maria Z and Rico Stan and other folks that are involved to really make stuff happen. Stephen P. says, just wanted to say thank you for letting us share the link to help Vinay. There's never a more worthy cause in the Fish Fam. Yeah, there's never been a more worthy cause in the Fish Fam. Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I actually wish I was in the position to donate money or something like that or do more, but every penny we have is going into this build. Like, this warehouse build is expensive. Building this new store is very expensive. And I've got a lot of commitments to a lot of people to make it happen. So I can't take anything from there. And then time is hard just because we're on a deadline to get that done. So I feel like I should do more and I want to do more, but the reality is this is kind of what I can do at this time. So that's what we'll do at this time. But, hopefully in the future I can do some more. All right. Let's get to the questions and the commentario. Here we go. First one I can see, because chat's jumped a lot, is look for Fisherman's Friend cough drops, not sugar. Yeah, that's what I'm using. But here's the thing. They don't taste sugary, but there is sugar in the ingredients. Now, it's definitely not the top ingredient, which is great. So I've been going through lots of cough drops, okay? I've been trying lots of cough drops. This one... Oh, these are sugar-free. Okay, yeah. But that's not good either. You eat that artificial sweetener, that's not the best either. So, yeah. All right, speaking of Fisherman's Friend, cheers. But I agree, Chuck. Fisherman's Friend is the best one I've found so far. There's 195 people here. Thanks for being here, folks. Appreciate your joining us. Paul Soltero. With amended sections of the Lacy Act targeting less commonly kept fish species, they don't meet some undisclosed import numbers. How do you think it will affect your business? I'm hoping that bit doesn't pass, Paul. But if we get down, and I hope I'm not too late. I am in the process of writing a letter up to my congressman. So if there's a whitelist, though, that's going to be a big problem. Yeah, for the hobby in general. We'll have to do some bobbing and weaving, I guess. Yeah, imports are the backbone of my business, and so if that goes away, we'll have to pivot pretty hard, figure out another way to make things happen. But Paul, they haven't done the vote yet, have they? I hope I'm not too late to write that letter. It's just, there's been a lot going on. But yeah, a whitelist would be horrible. We don't want that. And basically, the people that would monitor that would not be nimble enough to satisfy the needs and wants of the aquarium hobby, and you'd end up with this short whitelist that would hardly ever be amended. And so it would really, really curtail what happens in the hobby for sure. Adam's Aquatic Addiction. Can you explain the loop for the water line in a little more detail? I think so. Let me see if I can bring up a visual aid, because that would probably be the best. But yeah, Paul, I'm really hoping that whitelist proposal does not pass. And they've tried things like this several times and they have not passed. And it doesn't just affect the fish hobby. It affects, lots of people. There was someone that left a comment that has like a poultry farm and does pheasants and stuff like that. Exotic poultry, I guess you would call it. And, they wrote their congressman because that's going to affect them. There's a wide range of people it affects. It's not just us. So I'm hoping if enough of us write letters and talk about how it would be a problem for us, that our representatives would listen. That's my hope. Okay, let me get these documents here. Random Arms, if someone comments that vote already happened, would you let me know?
Yeah, well, you'll see it.
Okay. Okay, I'm looking for...
Get past the House, but not the Senate.
Oh, yeah. I knew it. I didn't even hear about it until it passed the House. I don't think anyone did. I think that's what triggered the response. So I think the best way to talk about this would maybe be to look at this. Okay. So here's a rough layout of an old draft of the warehouse that I could find easily and is pretty clear. So all these blue and black rectangles represent aquariums. So let's say I have an air pump situated right here in the middle. And it's an air line that goes across here. And then I stub out and I have a pipe that runs here, and a pipe that runs here, and a pipe that runs here, and on the other side the same, across this row, and this row, and this row, but the pipe ends right here at the end of each row. If I turn on that air pump, that blower or linear piston pump, then the pressure right here on these aquariums will be a lot higher than the pressure down here on these aquariums, because there's these capped ends on the pipe, and I don't know the physics of it, but basically, as we get further and further away from the pump, you're going to get less and less pressure, just because of resistance, basically. But if you close that loop, so right now you just have individual pipes coming down here and ending right here. So if you take those individual pipes, these sticks that stick out, and you tie them together into a loop, and you take a pipe and you run it here, and attach it here, and here, and here, and here, now you have a pipe running this way, pipes running across each of these rows, as well as a pipe running here, and a pipe running here. So it's all tied in, and it's basically a loop. What happens there is the pressure down here now becomes equalized more or less. You have a lot less pressure differential than you would otherwise with the tank here, because there's no like end for it to go and get lost in or caught in. The resistance is less because the air can flow freely in a loop. So that's what I mean by that. And hopefully that was enough with just my mouse on that drawing to kind of get the point across. So it's the same for water. I talked about air just there, but it's the same for water. You'll get lots of pressure differentials. And you could have a lot more air coming out, or a lot more water coming out into the aquarium close to the source than you would the aquarium across the warehouse. So you want to take away that pressure differential. All right, orange cones. Hey, when you get a chance, let me know if Tipper Tie order is complete or still missing a table so I can follow up with them. Thanks, I will. And I did get your text. I've just been, there's the illness. Then there's last week that big ice storm and winter weather, and we had to cancel the orders, and that created a whole couple days of letting people know and rescheduling and all that. And then building the warehouse on top. So I haven't forgot you, orange cones. Thanks for the nudge. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can find a moment to circle around. I think I'm missing one. I'm missing one of the stands. We only got one, so we need the second stand. But I don't think it's on the packing slip. So I think everything on the packing slip arrived, but I'll get a picture and get that to you. And thanks again for your help getting that. Oh, the electrical panel was mailed finally, so that's good news. So we've been waiting on this electrical panel to supply electricity properly to the warehouse. Right now it's all just patched in. Yeah. It's safe, but it's not permanent. So the electrical supply panel we got a tracking number Monday, so that's finally actually happening. And I want to thank, there's one gentleman specifically that was really helpful, helping us work on a plan B in case we needed it, and making sure we knew someone had our back that could help us navigate an issue should it get delayed even more. So I want to thank that person. They know who they are. I don't want to say their name publicly in case they don't, some people don't like their business aired publicly. Mountaintop Puffer Keeper, my new breeding project coming in, the off chance that Lacy Bill becomes law. Rhodesia, okay, how do you say that? Altapina. How would you set those up? A male, 2 males, and 3 females in a 50-gallon is my initial plan. So I'm going to look up this scientific name, but I believe this is one of the barbs. Which one? Oh, it's South America? No, it's not a barb then. I'm way off. Oh, I don't know. I've never seen... Hang on, this is what we're looking at. I've never actually seen this fish in person. I don't know much about it. I know it's pretty. I know it's interesting. But Mountaintop Puffer Keeper, I don't know enough about him. I look forward to learning from you about this fish. If anyone here has kept this fish and bred it, would you chime in and let Mountaintop Puffer Keeper know? And real quick about the Lacy Act, if you love fish and want to being able to keep lots of fish and not just have a white list that says you can now keep guppies and bettas and glowfish, but you want to keep other stuff too, maybe angelfish is on there and a few others, then it's worth taking a moment to write your congressman. something that would be really helpful, I think, and really resonate with politicians, policymakers, would be if, for example, you happen to be a veteran and fish keeping has helped you as in any way. I don't want to presume anything, but if you're a veteran and fish keeping has helped you to relax or deal with any kind of PTSD or anything else. I'm not an expert. I don't want to represent anything wrong here, but if you've had any issues resulting from your service and the aquarium hobby is mitigating that in any way, let's put it that way. Writing your representative, your congressman or woman, congressperson, I guess we say these days, I'm not even sure, and letting them know, hey, I'm a vet, this really helps me. I think that would really resonate with them. If you are in the situation that lots of fish fan members are in, where you're recovering from alcoholism or drug use or whatever, and the aquarium hobby is helping you stay out of that and giving you an outlet to help you live a more happy, productive life and stay away from those issues, then I think that would really resonate. So there's some things. Okay, I don't like to get political on the stream, right? I don't talk politics, I don't talk religion, I don't do that. This is about fish keeping. But this is a political move, the Lacy Act changes to it, that could really affect fish keeping. So I feel like I got to talk about it. And there are certain things that politicians want to be known for, like helping veterans and helping folks recovering from addiction or dealing with addiction, things like that. So I do feel like if you have any of those stories, writing those could be super powerful. And if you don't, just writing them and saying, look, this is what I do, this is what I live for, and that's in my case, this is what I live for. Like, what am I going to do if it goes away? I don't know. I don't want to have to think about that. But, if it's important to you, just let them know that. So you can fill out the standard form and that template and everything. And maybe that's a start, but I feel like if they just get a whole bunch of the same template, that doesn't maybe feel personal. Maybe that's not as effective, but if you can share personally what it means to you, that might be more effective. So I'm not a politician. I don't deal in politics that much, so I could be totally wrong, but that's my thoughts on it. But I do think it'd be worth all of us taking just a moment to contact our congressperson. A letter is probably best. A hard copy letter is probably best. And just saying, please don't take this away from me. So what I'm going to do is talk to them and say, like, hey, I've got this business. It's helping bring jobs into this area. It's helping bring money into this area, this rural area in Wyoming. So that's item number one. Item number two is, I don't know that a sweeping federal regulation is appropriate, because a fish that might live fine in Florida waters is not going to live in Wyoming waters. So why are having a one-size-fits-all policy? Like, if there's fish that we're worried about in Wyoming, let's let Wyoming figure that out. Because what's right for Wyoming's waterways is not necessarily what's right for Florida's waterways. So that's the other thing I'll bring up. I'm talking about what it means to me personally. So business, like, not really effective. One size fit all doesn't work. What it means to me personally. And then there's another thing that I've forgotten now that I'll be bringing up. Oh, it's like, to make it so they can understand, I'm going to talk about gardening and say, let's say that you're a gardener and that's what you do to relieve your stress. Well, what if one day the government came down and said, okay, you're a gardener, that's great. You can keep roses, you can keep zucchini, and you can keep, I don't know, daisies, and that's it. It's like, well, what about all the other flowers and vegetables I want to grow? Like, I think if I'm going to make an analogy like that to try to help the representative understand, like, from my view, what it's like. Because I think everyone can kind of understand gardening. So that's how I'm approaching it. And I'm not too late. It's been super busy and been dealing with a lot of stuff. But, okay. I do think, though, that the most effective stories will be those that have to do with veterans and with folks recovering from addiction. because those are, things that probably resonate with representatives. Jennifer Weaver, this helps too. Thanks for your time on the stream. Hey, of course, you're welcome. Glad to do it. Happy to be here. Kelly Foreman, I'm glad you're feeling better. Me too, as I almost cough again. Feeling a lot better than I was, but honestly, I feel great. Just have this tickle in my throat. And it kind of, it's hard to sleep when you're randomly coughing all night. My poor wife is so patient. And Fantastic Freaks has threw down a super chat with a thumbs up pair sticker. Thank you so much, Fantastic. It's not letting me see any kind of comment or anything. It just shows me your super chat and the amount and the sticker. So if I'm missing the comment, I apologize. I just can't see it. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. It's always great when money falls out of the computer screen, and it does help our little nascent business get on its feet and thrive. We appreciate it. Irie77, are pygmy corridors oxygen sensitive? I keep losing them within a week. Okay, ammonia 0, nitrite 0, nitrate 0, 73. Like, are you, by oxygen sensitive, do you mean like, do they have a problem with too much oxygen absorbed in the water? Or are you talking about they need more oxygen? I would not call them oxygen sensitive. I think if you're able to keep other normal aquarium fish in the water, they should be fine too. In fact, cories deal with poor oxygen by going up to the surface and taking a gulp of air. They're able to absorb oxygen from atmospheric air. So I would say they're actually resistant to too little oxygen. And a lot of cories live in places where there's good water flow at the bottom of like rapids and things like that. Maybe the cories aren't in super rapidly moving water all the time, but they live in areas where there's good oxygenation surrounding them. And so I don't think like it would be too much oxygen would do it either. With cories, what I've found is it's a sourcing issue. There's certain places where I get cories and try them and try all kinds of things, and no matter what I didn't have success. And then there's other sources where I would get the cories, and this includes pygmies, and they would come in and be rock solid. So to me, what I noticed is certain sources, they never do well. Other sources, they do well. So that would be what I would be suspecting is, I don't know where you're getting them from, but wherever their source is might be an issue. It might be time to try a different one or ask them if they can get them from a different source. So that's what I would suggest. I had to look quite a while before I found a source of pygmy cories where they arrived in good shape reliably. It actually took several years, so I know the struggle. Some of you folks that have been here a while have seen me go through that struggle, specifically with cories, specifically with pygmy cories in some cases. So, yeah, but I would try different sources till you could find one that worked for you. Multi-Tank Addiction, thank you so much. It's always good to get poop if there's a super chat attached to it. Thank you for the pile of fertilizer. I promise you, I will put it to good use. Okay. Bob Purcell passed Congress, currently in Senate. Yeah, I knew it passed the House. Talk to your senator. It's already out of the House. Right. Yeah. Has been for a little while. Yeah. Mountaintop Pufferkeeper. Like, I think I found out about it. Dave, when did you email me? It's only been a couple days, so I had a lot of time to react, but I'm working on it. Mountaintop Pufferkeeper. I get the letter emails out soon if you feel inclined. The House bill passed. The Senate is not yet. Yeah. Didn't the House bill pass a while ago, though? I don't know. I need to dig down and figure out more about it. But, yeah, I plan on doing it soon. It's not like I'm sitting around. I just need to finish it up and get it out. It's hard to find time to actually sit down and get the thoughts out properly. That's what I need to do. Pablo Chin, what if add seeded ceramic rings, transfer sand plants, yes. So you're transferring a bunch of stuff that's bioactive to a new 40 gallons, performing chemical cycle, what are the chances that the tank cycles in 2 weeks? Like really good. If you're, what cycling means is that you're growing a colony of bacteria that will nitrify ammonia and nitrite, and with the end result of nitrate, right? I think they're two separate colonies if I remember right. But anyway, all you're trying to do to cycle a tank is grow a population of bacteria, or maybe two distinct populations of bacteria. If you're bringing in a bunch of populations of bacteria, it's cycled. There's a difference though between that and having a mature tank, or as Corey likes to say, what does he say? A seasoned tank. So you can get the bacteria in there and it's technically cycled. It takes a while though for the full balance to hit. So you can have the bacteria in there and maybe the ammonia generated by the tank is less than the bacteria can consume, like less food than the whole population needs. So the population goes down in number, and then you put in a bunch of fish and suddenly the ammonia level spikes and the bacteria can't consume it all, and now you have a problem. So it's about, or the reverse. The reverse isn't so bad. Like if you have a big bacteria population and enough food for it, that's usually not so bad. But what can happen is you're out of balance. You have not enough bacteria for the amount of ammonia being produced, and therefore you get an ammonia spike. The difference is free ammonia, which harms your fish. So what I would say is you could do all that, and you can totally use fishless cycling, chemical cycling, to keep feeding that bacteria population you've introduced ammonia, so it can keep converting it. So I hope that answers your question, but there's a big difference between newly cycled and long-term balanced, and that's what we're going for. So even though you have the bacteria population, be careful, don't get too many fish in there at the beginning. Keep checking your values of ammonia for the first several weeks that you have your fish in there to make sure you're in balance as it's seasoning and getting mature. Myrtle, to grab Dan's attention, please type @DansFish or DansFish followed by your comment. Yep, see that? When Myrtle does that, it turns bright orange for me, these bright orange boxes, and that's what I look for when I'm going down the chat. So thank you for shouting that out. Pony Grill, new Bolivian ram not eating, good color and active, treating with general cure, any advice? Well, how new is it? If it's like new, it could take it a little while before it settles in enough to start eating. Or it could be that it's not accustomed to the foods you're feeding yet. So if I had a new ram, and I just got it recently, and it looked good and was active and all that, it just wasn't eating, I would try different foods. I would see if maybe some frozen bloodworms would tempt it. You could try just a few live blackworms to see if that'll tempt it. If it won't eat live blackworms, then it's not a food issue. Like if it's ignoring those, then it really does have a sickness. But for me, usually when I get new fish in, it can take a week or so before they're eating my foods because they're used to something totally different. So I don't know for sure what it could be, but if it's a new fish, I would suspect it could be something like foods it's not accustomed to. Chris Goyette, do you carry substrate? I do not. I only sell live fish. I'm wanting one for shrimp that lowers pH. I want to get a good one that lasts more than a year. So folks, could we hive mind this, since I don't know that much about specialized shrimp substrates and all those, fancy soils. If you have a substrate that you recommend that's been good long term and lowers pH and is good with shrimp, would you chime in and let Chris know what you use? That might be helpful. More help than I could provide. Little Bobby, hey, New Mexico Aquatics, good to see you. Will you be selling any goodyids anytime soon? I will be selling some goodyids. I have plans to anyway. There's a breeder that has some trout goodyids, Iliad unfurcidans, that I'd like to get my hands on. Right now it's a balancing act between trying to keep some fish in stock and get some fish in stock so the store doesn't, completely dry up, versus not having too many fish in stock so we still have time to build the warehouse. I do have one source of trout goodyids that I do plan on pulling the trigger with pretty soon and trying to get some in, because I have some folks specifically looking for them. But it also might have to wait till I get in the warehouse. It's just this, yeah, I'm not quite sure what the timeline will be for that specific species from the breeder that has some available right now. But in the warehouse, I'm not going to be running the temperature cold enough for a lot of the Goodyids. I'm going to be running the temperature 77, 78 degrees. So that's going to curtail a lot of what can be done Goodyid-wise. Just it'll be a temperature barrier. Samuel! I wrote my senator, then found out she is one of the biggest pushers of the Lacy Act. Yeah, I mean, you can only do what you can do, right? Yeah. I get it. Chat's about to jump. Hang on. Okay, yeah. Chat jumped. I'm scrolling to look. Okay, hang on. We're going. We're going. It jumped big time, so it's going to take me a moment. Fantastic Freaks. Nope, you're good. There wasn't a comment. Just $3. Okay, cool. Cool. Thanks, Fantastic, for letting me know. Nice looking tank behind you, too. What's all in there other than the rose lines and the archers? So, not a lot. We do have some electric blue Acara. I don't know how well they're showing up on camera. Got some steel blue, I don't know if you can see them, but some steel blue Apistos that are in there, a little breeding colony that just keeps perpetuating and has for years in there. And then we have a really old colony of skunk corridors arcuatus. I don't know if you can see those down here on the substrate or not. And then there's a Siamese algae eater in there and some L183 plecos. And that's the tank. It's not like a hugely stocked tank. There's a lot of free room in there, but that's kind of how I like it. Orange cones. What species of fish would you like to see bred in captivity that is not currently commonly done? Almost any killifish. Almost any Fundulopanchax, Nothabronchius, or Aphyosemian species. The Epiplates species are neglected a lot. Yeah, almost any of your killifish. And for those of you that are not familiar with killifish, here's why. Check these out. Okay, this is one genus of killifish. These are from West Africa. This is absolutely stunning. These are called Fundulopanchax. Lots of different species. My absolute favorite of all time are these. They're Gardneri, but there's many different species of Fundulopanchax. And if you just, briefly scroll through here, each one is prettier than the last. Like, they are just absolutely stunning fish. I like this one a lot. Emiadai. These are really pretty. So, be a shame if these disappeared. Another beautiful genus is Nothabronchius. Just take a gander of these. And there's lots of them. We're just going to see a few. Really interesting fish, really pretty. Lots of them are easy to breed in aquariums. Aphyosemian. Same thing, just stunning little fish that are not commonly available, but in general are pretty easy to breed and raise. Platies. These are surface dwellers, like little pikes. Lamodii right here. These are awesome. Like that purple and blue. They really do look like a nice purple fish in person. Then there's all the South American annual species. There's many genre of them, many of which are great for aquariums. I think the killifish hobby, okay, it's a great hobby and I love it. but I think it shot itself in the foot a little bit just because typically killie keepers keep 1 or maybe 2 pairs of each species. They want to keep lots of different species. And so what that means is that species frequently disappear because there's only a few here or a few there. No one's got there aren't like people with large stocks. So if you lose one female or one male, it can wipe out that species from your collection. And there's only a few people that have them, pretty quickly you can have some issues. Also, they aren't typically by your typical killifish hobbyist raised in large enough numbers to really distribute and get established in any kind of meaningful way numbers wise. And so I think that just that habit of having 1 or 2 pairs of each species generally, while fun, and do your hobby how you want. Like, killie dudes watching, respect. Like, this is not me saying you should do it another way. This hobby is supposed to be enjoyable and for fun, and if that's the way it's fun for you, that's great. I'm not suggesting you should do it any other way. But I am saying that one of the ramifications of that is lots of these amazing species are not well established in the hobby and are difficult to find and often disappear. And if we can't recollect them or find someone in Europe that has someone we can get or something like that, it's hard to... There's lots of species I've seen come and go in the hobby over the years just because of how we keep killifish in small numbers. So, I would be thrilled if someone took it upon themselves to set up a killifish breeding room or something where they could breed decent numbers of a species. I'd much rather see someone raise decent numbers of one species of killifish than raise 50 species in tiny little numbers. And again, I'm talking from an industry's perspective here. I'm not talking about hobbyists just trying to have fun. That's fine, right? But that's what I'd say. Everyone loves killifish, and no one can get them just because how killifish hobbyists operate does not lend itself to distribution in any kind of real numbers. Dragon Layer. Actually, this is a good bill. Just this Lacy Act add-on rider is bad. Yeah, the last bit that they threw on at the end, the whitelist and all that. Just the rider needs to be taken out before they pass it in the Senate. Okay, so that's a good point, Dragon Layer. And that is a distinction I did not make. It is this last-minute rider add-on that has the whitelist and all that. So they're just kind of tacking this on, kind of sneaky way to get it through, right? So good point, Dragon Layer. We don't necessarily need, and your politics are yours, not just you, Dragon Layer, but everyone. Your politics are yours, so you decide for yourself. But I think that Dragon Layer is right on. That add-on rider is the bit that concerns us as hobbyists. But I also, so maybe the person that commented earlier that they wrote their representative and they're pushing the Lacy Act, maybe you can say that's great, the act's awesome, if you think that way. But there is this bit that is really concerning, so that might mitigate things there. Again, I'm not trying to get political, and my political advice is probably horrible, but if someone is vested in the Lacy Act and you say, hey, I don't want that to pass, that's not going to do any good. But if someone's vested in the Lacy Act and you're like, actually, go forward, but this bit here is a real problem for me, maybe they can still push the thing that's important to them forward and still give you what you need. There's a little compromise there. Charnsworth, any concerns on mixing goby species in the same tank, smaller ones, Cichiopus and Stiphodons? Not really. In fact, I like mixing Cichiopus and Stiphodons together because they have different food sources. So I can put an algae wafer in the tank, and the Stiphodons will eat it all day long, and then I come back in the evening and I can feed some frozen bloodworms for the Cichiopus because they're little carnivores, right? So I like mixing those two species together. If you get a big size differential, that could be a really, this user's name, I'm gonna hang on. that could be an issue. But besides that, I think they're fine. I do it all the time. This user's name is Smelly Butthole. Yeah, they're getting banned. That's oh, did someone already do it? Just the message. How do I actually delete the user? I'll come back. I'll figure that out. Like, really? We're trying to make this an okay channel for kids and families and stuff to watch, so that's not gonna fly. One of my mods, do you know how to like actually ban that person? They did? Okay, good. Thanks. Random Arms is saying you guys are on it. I figured. I just saw that the message had been deleted, but if we could just get that troll out of here, that'd be good. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so folks, no matter what, like there's plenty of places on the internet where you can go and talk about controversial things and use whatever kind of language you want and all that. This is not one of them. And the reason is I want the 8-year-old kid who's interested in fish to not be shut out because the content's not appropriate. So I'm not saying I want to infantilize all of you, but let's make this a place where kids that are interested in the hobby can come and participate just as actively as as adults, and maybe we can help a new generation of hobbyists, right? I had that growing up. I didn't have it in a YouTube format, but I had local fish clubs and things that it would have been devastating to me as a kid if I couldn't go to because they were doing things that I couldn't participate in. My parents would be like, you're not going there anymore, right? That would have been horrible. So let's make this a place where everyone, no matter what their age or their belief system or tolerances for content and things can come and just, it's about fish. That's what we're doing here. Outside of this we can do other things, but this is about fish when we're here. So usernames like Smelly Butthole just are not going to fly. Mountaintop Pufferkeeper, I'll keep you posted on those Rhodesia altipina. Why did I think they were barbs? As I learn and eventually breed them. I didn't even know they existed until last week. I'm looking forward to working with them. Cool, right on. Oh, is there a Dawkinsona Rhodesia? Okay, I have to answer this question. Rhodesian barb. I think it's Dickensia rhodesia, right? Let's see here. Now I can't even spell it. Barb? Rhodesia barb? What is it? Dawkinsia? Oh, Rohani. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Rohani. Somehow I got Rhodesia and Rohani mixed up. Okay, that answers that. That's exactly the fish I was thinking of when I read it the first time. Okay, we're at 196. That's okay. We're holding strong. 196 ain't nothing to sneeze at. Dennis Christensen, I received an email from Amazonas about this bill on February. Yeah, I did too. Yeah. Let's hear. So what, 5 days ago? Yeah. My Amazonas notifications go to a specific folder, not to my main inbox though. So I don't always see those things right away. Yeah, I know Amazonas sent out a blast about it though. I did see mine recently. Okay. Let's see here. Chat jumped, which is why the silence as I scroll frantically looking for current chat. Here we are. Are you going to do a fish moving day video? Oh, I don't think that'd be that interesting. We're going to throw fish in 5-gallon buckets and drive them down the road 2 minutes to the warehouse. But maybe. Honestly, though, it's been like all hands on. Like, it's anytime we find some time, we go over and we build. And we don't film much because anytime you film, it just takes a lot more time. And we want to get this thing done, and we just don't have any free time. So I thought we'd do more videos. I wanted to do more videos. I still do, and we may be able to do some. But when it's like, hey, it's a massive project, and here's the deadline, it makes it hard. Kelly Kimin, hey, do you or will you have female scarlet batis? I really want to get a trio. No. All the ones are males, as far as I can tell. I haven't seen a female in over a year, and even then, that might have been a male. It's really hard to tell when they're colored down completely. I think every time I've ever thought I had a female in the past and separated it, it ended up coloring up into a male. A immature or subdominant or colored down male is very hard to distinguish from a female. So I might not have ever seen a female, actually. I think I have a few times, but I'm not quite sure. Paul Soltero, be careful with the analogies you make connecting gardening. Too many introduced things in horticulture. Yeah, okay. Hammer them with the kudzu card. Okay, so let's say food then. Oh, you like cooking? That's your thing? You're a foodie? You enjoy cooking, try new recipes? Awesome. That's great. You're now allowed to have scrambled eggs, beef Wellington, and tofu stir fry. That's your white list. Well, what about all the hundreds and thousands of other foods I want to try? Nope. That's you have 3. That's your white list. But I could eat a hamburger and make a hamburger. That wouldn't hurt anyone. Yeah, but it's not on the list. Well, could you put the hamburger on the list? No. There's this whole long process that ain't never actually going to happen. Okay. I guess you got to get used to, what was it? Beef Wellington and whatever the other things were. Tofu stir fry. To grab Dan's attention. Yes, okay, thanks, Myrtle. Letting folks know to make it at me so I see them chats. Josh, are Guianacara good with plants? So, yes and no. I kept mine with floating water sprite and did not have a problem, but I have read reports, they are an omnivore, and I've read reports that they will eat plants. I've never seen it. It did not happen to me, and I don't know how good those sources are. A lot of times people just, oh, it's an herbivore. Okay, we'll put a thing in here about they eat plants. So, it's a CYA type thing. But I have not experienced it, but I've read that they can. Swamp Thing, Lacy Act, I had no idea. Thank you for the heads up. Yes, you are welcome. Yeah. And, hopefully it doesn't pass. That'd be no bueno. Patrick Hardy throwing down a super chat with a pair. Doing a mic drop. Hopefully he's not. Would you please drop the mic and get off stage already? Cough is back. All right. Come on, fisherman's friend. So, I guess that's one way to interpret a mic drop. I'm just teasing, Patrick. Thank you so much for the super chat. Always appreciated, never required, but it does make my wife super happy when we get super chats. All right. Fishaholic saying howdy to everyone at the Fish family. Howdy right back. Mikey M. 7 to 8 years ago, a scientist from Germany visited my friend to clip the tip of a fin for a DNA sample from a killifish. Oh, awesome. Yep. They'll do lots of things. A lot of times, being an avid killifish hobbyist means either traveling to remote areas to collect your own or knowing someone who does. Like Dr. Brian Waters out of Canada used to go around and collect tons of Nothabronchia species. And if you knew Brian, you could get a lot of them. And you didn't even have to know him. He tried to distribute them. Barry Cooper was another guy who would get lots of different Nothos and breed them and distribute them. There's some guys really dedicated to going down to South America and getting the different, I'm going to call them Cynolebius, but there's Cynolebidae, I don't know what that group is called, but all those South American annuals. Yeah. But, again, a lot of them are not sustained because of how they're done. Don Gallagher, I recently discovered a fish I've never kept. I love it and want more. Pandagar. Yes! How much fun is that? One video I want to make, I don't know when I'll have time, but it's like Pandagara rugby. So we've got a big old group of Pandagara in this 75 gallon right over there. And we feed them about 5 wafers or pellets every day. 5 big like algae wafers, let's say. And you put them in and it's so fun because they mob it and you get these 5 different teams just wrestling this ball around, and it looks like a rugby scrimmage. It's a scrum. It's just super fun. So I'm gonna make a video. I don't know, maybe set up some little goals on the ends and see which group gets their wafer through the goal first. I think that could be fun. But again, time. But yes, they're super entertaining. Pandagara are amazing in pretty much every way. So if you're looking for unique fish, that you could do worse for sure. Myrtle, just use your streaming setup and make a 4K stream of the whole moving process. Yeah, I would like to do that. Problem is, my whole streaming setup is a desktop, so you kind of have to have like a mobile camera, and I'm kind of tethered to this spot for live streams. Oh, let me say this: I'll do what I can, but if it's going to hold up like getting the warehouse done and getting moved in, I can't do it. So I'm not saying I can't make a video. I'm just saying I have to be careful because there's a lot to do. Do a fish moving video set to the theme of the Benny Hill show. I like it. Or Monty Python. All things fish. Good evening. Well, good evening. Right back at you. Good to see you. Finally catching a stream. Yeah, I know. It's been a while. Hope all is well. Breeding is pleasure. 3 times equals world peace and golazo. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope the pilot's life is treating you well. Hobbies 1911. I currently have 5 Guianacara with guppy grass. They don't touch it, but it's probably conditional on feeding, etc. Yeah. Okay, so that's 2 folks did not experience problems with plants in Guianacara. I always say Guianacara. Guianacara, I think. Acara from Guyana, French Guiana, and Suriname. What's the plan for the new warehouse if the act passes and interstate shipping isn't allowed anymore? I don't know yet, Hobbs. Again, I just learned about this a little while ago, so I haven't wrapped my head around it yet. Let's hope it doesn't pass. But we'll have to come up with some kind of different thing. I have not. That's a big question, and I haven't wrapped my head around it. All things fish. In Iowa, we have a dry winter. Water levels are down. It'll be a dry year. Are there restrictions on the amount of water you can pull from the stream with regards to drought conditions? No, because it's not consumptive use. So basically what I'm doing is taking water from the stream, filtering it, and returning it to the stream. So since I'm not consuming the water, I'm not taking the water out of the stream and watering crops with it or something and not returning it to the stream, right? I'm not affecting the level of the stream. So since it's non-consumptive use, no, I'm good for 1 million gallons a day for that. I mean, I suppose there could be a case where the state, we're in severe drought and the state says, okay, all water permits are, suspended for the foreseeable future for whatever. But that's like a doomsday scenario type thing, and I don't think that would happen. And I did talk to the state engineer's office about this, who are the ones that give the permits for water usage. And they did say that since you're non-consumptive, there would be no benefit to us to limiting your draw, basically. Christy Kemming, what's your favorite centerpiece fish and nanofish? So I'm a little different. My favorite centerpiece fish are nanofish, just big groups of them. So when I often will have a large tank and a ton of one species of small fish in it. I think they just look awesome in big groups. So rather than have one big fish, I often do a group of little fish. And let's see here. What's one that has really caught my eye lately? I really like the Celestial Pearl Danios. We just sold out, but we had a big group of them. And so they were bold and big and fat and healthy and were out and about everywhere. I really like those. Nano fish, but keep enough of them, they can be a centerpiece. I still really like the Miyuki white rice fish. They just glow. I think they're awesome. A big group of those is just phenomenal. I'm sure I'm missing one. If I was forced to choose, though, like a standard big centerpiece fish, this is going to be weird, but I have some Betta anabatoidus that I really like. They're a giant Betta species, one of the largest, about 5 inches or so full grown, maybe a little bigger. And they're not real flashy or anything, but they're really unique. And I really like when they do color in, it's this subtle green that I really like. So that's interesting. And then another one I like, again, only in a group though, are African knifefish. I like a big group of those. They're super interesting behavior-wise, and how they swim is just mesmerizing. The way their fin undulates is just really interesting. They go forward and backward, and they're like little hummingbirds, the way they can navigate. A lot more agile than a lot of fish as far as well, I don't know if they're more agile, but they can move in directions fish normally can't. And it's cool to watch. Mitchell, I have a group of something that do the food rugby thing as well. Gobies and the like are just funny. Okay, what is this? What is this goby type species? I want to look this up because I don't recognize the name. All right, so here's what Mitchell's talking about. Oh, the desert goby. Okay. I should have known that. Yep. Pile on the food. Yep, for sure. For sure. Those are fun. Desert gobies are little clowns. They are super fun to watch. Wait, can I click on this without... Okay, I can. All right, 212. The chat just jumped. Hang on, I'm looking. Here we go. Mikey M. Brian Waters got a fish named in his honor, Nothobronchius waterseye. Some people in our Scandinavian Killie Club have experienced the same. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think Dr. Waters deserves it. That guy did so much for the killifish hobby and our understanding of them. He would not only would he bring a lot of species into the hobby, but he also described a lot of species. It really increased our knowledge. He was a super nice guy too. Met him a few times at like West Coast Weekend back when that happened. That was a killifish convention that happened in the Bay Area in California that I used to go to as a kid. I missed that. That was awesome. Yes, my favorite is CPDs and Mandaka too. I have both. The blue sparkle Mandakas, awesome. All right, Christy, look, great. Clearly someone of good taste. Deb Hall put 20 chili raspberries in a 20 long. Yep, they are schooling wonderfully. Surprised me. Yeah, a group of chili raspberries, absolutely stunning. One more from Mikey M. Worse for a European killie legend breeder collector. Some killifish in a small pond get named after him and his girlfriend by a scientist. Then they separated. The fish remains in the pond. That's funny. Have the fish named after you and your partner and then separate. Yep. Someone was a little someone had a little bit of extra faith in that relationship, huh? Don Gallagher. Centerpiece, a bunch of long-finned white clouds. Yes, that's beautiful. Bunny Viper. Any chance you'll ever get in emerald tiger barbs? I don't know. I like tiger barbs. There's a lot of fish I like that it does not make sense business-wise for me to carry, just because you can get them other places. If you can get them at like Petco and PetSmart and they're like ubiquitous, then it's a little hard to justify me carrying them when you can jog down to your local big box store and get one for a few bucks, right? But that being said, what I am finding is there are people that are willing to pay more for a, let's call it quote unquote cheap fish, right? Fish that you would expect to only pay like $2 or $3 for, your local big box store. I can't sell for that price. I would literally go out of business. I'd lose money. I have to sell a fish for at least $6 or I'm losing money. And I don't mean like I'm not making enough profit. I mean, I'm literally hemorrhaging money and the company won't be able to make the money it needs to do the next order, right? Keep inventory in stock. So, but I have found that when I have things like your standard carry tetras, your cardinal tetras, your ember tetras, things like that, they are moving quicker or better than I thought they would at like the $6 price point. So I might experiment a little bit once we get into the warehouse and get things checked up or get things settled in and everything. But I'm not sure. If I can find a fish that's harder to find elsewhere and has a higher price point, business-wise, it tends to make sense to get that. I do think that as we expand, there is a bit of an opportunity and maybe even a bit of a responsibility to get some kind of beginner type fish in for the novice who's just starting out, maybe. To get maybe a few of those fish in, just to help people start out, right? If you're in the fish business, it's probably a good idea to nourish the hobby, help new folks get started. And not all of my fish are going to be good for new folks because they're hard to find or expensive and what have you. So I might do some of that just to nurture the next generation. But in that case, I don't know if I'd do tiger barbs just because of the aggression issues. I'd want to choose something that's kind of foolproof, that if you put it in with other little fish, you wouldn't have any problems with aggression or nip fins and things like that. So there's a lot of things to consider, Bunny Viper, from a business point of view about every fish we bring in. Every fish we bring in is very carefully considered. The only time it isn't is when I order something and then the supplier just sends me something random. And it's like, oh, I guess I have these now. Thanks for the Mangano cichlids. I thought I'd ordered rams. Paul Soltero, snakeskin barbs and ruby tetras are up there for me. Yep, the snakeskin barbs when they truly color. Also the pentazona, the 5-banded barb and the 6-banded barb, hexazona, pentazona, those, and the snakeskin barbs when they really color in, they are breathtaking. That is true. Fish still swim together in a pond. Yep. So they're still together even though they're not. Desert gobies were the very first egg layer I actively bred. Did you inactively breed others? Eventually you can feed them bloodworms from your hand. Great fish. Oh yeah, absolute personable little fish. I agree. Okay, I'm going to get to... Sorry guys, a little bit of residual cough still. I think what we should do... Let me wet my whistle. Alright, let me control my cough, and then we'll do the giveaway. And while we're waiting for the giveaway drawing to finalize, 210 people here. Must be giveaway time. Oh, now we're at 207. Every time, man, every time I mention the number, it just starts dropping. It never fails. I jinx my own viewership just by commenting on it. And while we're waiting for the giveaway to finalize, we'll answer a few more. We've got 5 more minutes. So, the giveaway tonight is for 3 Guianacara, species name I'm not going to try to pronounce. What was it? Yeah, can't remember. I can't say it. Now I got to look it up. Orowefi, that's what I'm going for. No, let's call it Wi-Fi. That's easier. Wi-Fi. Orowefi, I think is how you actually say it. These guys, they're not for everyone. They're going to get possibly up to 6 inches, probably 4 to 5, but maybe as many as 6 inches. So you're going to end up needing at least a 40 breeder for, say, a pair. maybe 55, something like that. So make sure you have an adequate tank for them to grow into. They're currently about 2 inches. Create little cichlid, not super aggressive, kind of like geophagus or gymnogeophagus in temperament. And I realize those are large groups of fish and some are more peaceful than others. There's some variance. But the point is, they aren't just bloodthirsty killers like some of our cichlids are. So if you would like to be entered to win a few of those, hopefully you've already entered #Cichlid. We're going to draw the winner now. And the winner is Xanadudu. Xanadudu, didn't you win like a few weeks ago? Yeah, you won the Horned Sunset Gara. Xanadudu strikes again. Congratulations. As you know, you've got 2 minutes to chime in and respond, and let us know you're here, because you do have to be present to win. And so we'll check back in a couple minutes and make sure that has happened. All right, while we're waiting, some good centerpiece fish suggestions. I like those. Okay, Crown Tail Half Moon. How do you cure cloudy eyes and discus and angels? So, the first thing I would probably do, Crown Tail Half Moon, is nothing. I know that's not, why that? Because usually that can clear up on its own. Not always, but if the parameters are good and the water is clean, I would probably do nothing. I just keep them in clean water, and usually that can heal up. Now, if it doesn't, if you're doing that and it's like, no, it's getting worse, and you need to step in, then maybe you try some salt, 5 grams per liter. So we're talking 5 parts per thousand. Salt is what I use. That'll kill plants. That'll affect some things. So if it's a nice planted tank, you might need to move the discus and angels to another tank, the affected ones. Try some salt. If that doesn't work, then I would move on to antibiotics. I'd probably start with my standard is kanamycin and nitrofurazone, because it treats so many things. Treats all kinds of gram-negative bacteria. Xanadudu just chimed in. I'm here, not rigged. We won't tell him. I want to offer them to color guppies benefits somehow. Okay. Let's see. We will figure that out, Xanadudu. I will, I'll do this. I'll contact Rico Stan and maybe Maria Z to find out how to do that, but we could, what could we do? We could do a gift certificate, a Dan's Fish gift certificate in the amount of 3 Guianacara, along with shipping, because I would cover shipping. So how much would that be? Let's take a look here.
Stefan says there's an auction on Saturday for it. So
Yeah, put it. Yeah, for the auction. That's what I'm thinking. So hang on real quick. Let's take a quick field trip. I think they're like, what are they, $25 maybe? Guianacara, $20 each. Okay, plus shipping 3 of them would be 29. So 60 plus 30. We might as well make it 100. So we'll do a $100 gift certificate for the auction, is what we'll do. Whoever I send that to, could you reach out? If not, I'll just contact Maria Z or Rico Stan or something to try to figure that out. So, yeah, thanks, Xanadudu. That frees up enough cash that I think Dan's Fish can donate a $100 gift certificate to the benefit auction. So we'll just make that a plan. Sounds good to me. I've missed some super chats. Chaos Aquatics and Exotics saying hi, yeah, hi right back at you, Bob. Great to see you. Thanks for everything. Patrick Hardy, keep it up, man. that working out pair. That's actually what I look. Okay, this is actually what I look like when I work out. See this pair? Oh, I can't zoom in. I can't. Can I? Okay, I want to. This is hilarious. That's me working out. Like just muffin topping my way around the gym. Yep. That's right. Thank you for the super chat. Always appreciate it. Never required. But it's super helpful. And Patrick Hardy. With a golem, yes. A goal super sticker, the best. Man, I want to do a golazo, but there's no way I could do that with my throat how it is. All right, I think that's time, guys. It's 8:31. Usually, Punchy Paints goes after me in about half an hour at 9 Mountain Time. Well, that would be 11 Eastern, so I'm not quite sure if Punchy's going next, but it's worth checking out if you want some more fishy, nerdy talk along with some cool art. Punchy Paints is usually going live in about half an hour, so I want to start by thanking my moderators. Thanks for all you do. I really appreciate you all. Thanks to everyone that threw money at us. Super chats are amazing. Never required. I'll still read other comments and stuff, but every little bit does help. We are a little startup company, so things are lean. We're making ramen wages and making this thing go. Xanadudu throwing down $50 shipping for the auction giveaway thing. Oh, that's amazing. Thanks. That will actually cover that after YouTube takes its cut, so I appreciate that. I miss one, Kelly Foreman. Love the generosity of this awesome community. Me too. I think it's a healthy community, and I think spontaneously helping each other out is a good one method to gauge a community's health. Not the whole method, but one metric by which we can say, hey, look at all these people jumping in to help each other and all that. That happens here frequently, and so and I've been the recipient of it sometimes. So happy to help in any way I can, and I think we're awesome as well. Let's all just take a moment to pat ourselves on the back, because we are awesome. Few communities online and stuff I feel are as gelled as we are. It's a special thing. I hope we realize that and nurture it. Okay, anyway, what was I talking about? Free money, mods. Yeah, thanks to everyone that had a comment or a question and making this interactive and lively. I appreciate that. Everyone that's a lurker, hail the Lurker Nation. If you are watching on the replay, then hi. And if you're listening on the podcast, thanks for listening. And thanks to Michael Mellier for making that happen every week. Appreciate it, Michael. We got one more from Sandy Farrell to help with shipping for the auction. Sandy, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. So let's attend that auction, help Color Guppies Vinay out. And until then, have a good one. I'll be back next Wednesday at same time, same bat time, same bat channel. Till then, I hope you guys have a good one. I'm actually signing off now. This has been a 3-minute sign off, so I should probably actually do it. So, bye-bye.